All right. Welcome back, members of the culture. I am Ra, and you are here. Once again, as we start every video off the same way, we want to say thank you for anyone that has liked, shared, commented, posted, reposted, subscribed, followed. Any engagement you have granted to this channel, believe me, from the bottom of my heart, is so appreciated. We are trying to start a movement and build a culture of like-minded individuals that love this hobby. And without you, none of that happens. So thank you for your engagement. Please continue. Please continue to share our message because we can't do this without you. Without you, there's no culture at all. So thank you so much for that. As you all know, we're here to do our reviews on our newly revised scale. And the first person I think we did, first or second, if my memory serves me correctly, would be Kintaro. So Kintaro is up for a re-review under the new scale. We've already done Mataro so far and Death's Head. So now we're on to Kintaro. And what could be cooler than one Kintaro? How about two Kintaros? As you can see here, we do have two of them. And so we're going to still review just one. Let me be clear on that. Still only going to review one figure. But we just wanted you to know there are two of them. You're not seeing double. It's not a trick or anything like that. As you know, when it comes to our reviews are based off five very important components. And those components are as follows: cool, articulation, price, display, and accessories. Total max of 20 points per category gives you a total max of 100 as your biggest score that you can get. All right, so let's see how Kintaro or Kintaros do on that scale. So we're going to start off with cool. When it comes to cool, folks, this guy succeeded Goro, right? He was the next one out as far as one of the boss mafia people, and he's definitely cool. I mean, there's no doubt about that in anyone's mind. Um, we had kind of already seen a Shokan before in the form of Goro. Now this guy had tiger stripes as opposed to, I guess, the dragon markings that Goro had, so that made him a little different and made him a tad bit special. But as a whole, he wasn't the great departure. Now he is in some ways, and I'll get to that in just a moment. But he was still ultimately a Shokan, whereas Mutaro was a centaur, so that was a totally different thing. So you get in terms of being different, Mutaro edges him that way. We're still dealing with another Shokan, a great figure, cool figure, but still another Shokan. He scores 10 points on the cool factor. Next up is articulation. Now, articulation, that is definitely a win. He is following up behind Goro, who we'll cover that in a minute. As far as articulation, that was like their first big bad guy. Um, and it's like the first of anything. You know, you make something, you improve as you continue to do it. As you go to the next one and the next one and the next one, typically you get better and better and better. And Kintaro is proof of that because he was an improvement upon Goro in the articulation category. He still has that same neck and ball joint that goes in here. It's double hinged, one here and one here that goes down towards the middle of the chest. Don't be alarmed when you change the heads because it typically pops all the way out. When it does that, don't freak out. You just have to get used to putting it back down in here. If you've just dealt with Marvel Legends, like for the most part I had done, or McFarlane figures, you're used to your typical ball peg where it's nothing really too crazy. But when you're dealing with Storm, they use a longer ball peg that goes all the way down in there. So when it comes off, you might think you broke the figure. That's what happened the first time I ever did it. But believe me, that's what's going on. But it's fine. It just takes a little getting used to. But anyway. The rest of his articulation is good. It's better, an improvement upon his predecessor. As far as if you look at his stripes and coloring, like look at that. I don't know if the camera is picking that up, but that's absolutely amazing. Like I do like that part. Um, absolutely. But he articulates really, really well. Shoulders and everything and arms, I think, were a little bit better than Goro, which was good. You know, they're still good. Goro had those drop downs, whereas this guy doesn't appear to have the same drop downs that Goro did in the shoulder and the shoulder area. And we'll get to that when Goro gets his time to shine, and he will. But this is still a very well articulated figure. Right here, it could be these shoulder pads. They don't really tend to get in the way either. If you got to rotate or move around, it's not going to really stop you at all. When you're moving the fist, keep an eye on these right here, these awesome gauntlets. They will come off when you change your fist for hands or whatnot. But that is something to kind of keep an eye out for when you're changing them because they do tend to fall off of there. This is a very slippery table, folks. Just for the record, it's not the figure as much as it is the table. So I want to just make that sure I put that caveat out there. Anyway, articulation, fantastic. You're talking about legs that can kick up this high, which for a figure this size, that's actually fairly impressive that he can get that up there. Um, Single jointed, obviously with a figure this big, I don't expect double joints. I really don't out of a figure this big. Single joints, but the range of motion is good enough to where not having a double jointed figure isn't really going to make or break anything, right? So you do have single joints, but he does a very good job with those single joints. Articulation overall, for what he is, like I said, he's an improvement on his predecessor. He scores 15 points there. Next up is Price. Price is where I think he really excels. There are some sites, where you can go. Big Bad had him on sale for a long, long time. They did. I don't know. I don't think they do as of this particular point in time. They may not even have him any longer, but they carried him on sale for a while. That's how we initially acquired this one. But if you go secondhand, it's going to be a little bit higher. But as a whole, you can find him pretty much for about, I would think around 90 is an average. I mean, there are some that are 100, some that are more, but you're dealing with eBay, Macari, whatnot, things like that. So that's expected. But as a whole, he's usually under $100 if you can find him, right? So Price is really, really good, right? So Price, he scored 16 for that. Display. He displays really, really well, whether you have accessories like this ripped Sub-Zero's arm. He ripped that off for some strange reason. But whether he's got that or whether he's barehanded or whether you change him to all fist, solid hands, however you want to do it, he displays really, really well. I always bring my guy right here in, Kotal Khan, my favorite Mortal Kombat character of all time. Kotal Khan here for a display so you can kind of see the difference there. He scales well with Marvel Legends and DC Multiverse. And the reason I say he scales well, you're probably like, no, he doesn't. He's considered a mega figure in their world, right? On Storm, this is a sub boss character. They're going to be larger. These guys are not 9.5 inches, so they're all going to be tall like that. But in terms of their bulk, you expect that if you take into account what they are and what you're looking at, then yes, they scale well. If you're just looking at it on the surface, then no, he kind of towers over. But in the world of Mortal Kombat, there aren't that many characters this guy's size, right? You're pretty much looking at him. He's a sub boss. Only those guys are this size. So to me, maybe it's just, whether I've played the games enough or subconsciously not thinking about it, to me, he scales well with those, right? So as far as display, he scores 16 points yet again. And last but not least, accessories. We've already talked about the arm that he's carrying right now, which belongs to Sub Zero, or well, did belong to Sub Zero at the time. He has a ton of accessories. So you've got a couple of Sub Zero's arms in there. You've got some bloody attachments that go onto it. He has a fireball. He has alternate heads. He has more hands than you can shake a stick at. Storm, as you know, never cheats you on the accessories. That's one thing that they excel at, and that's kind of unilaterally across the board that I see. It could be hit or miss, where you want a little bit more, but as a whole, it's not just something where they're going to give you. And I'm not ragging on Marvel Legends. I do collect them in DC Multiverse, as you can clearly see, but they don't just go, okay, well, here's the extra set of hands and a collector's card. That's not what happens. Storm gives you your money's worth on that. 20 points, ladies and gentlemen, for accessories. That will bring the score of the mighty Kintaro to 77 points, which would be pretty much, if we round up, that's about an 8 out of 10. So very similar to Mataro, where you're not gonna lose either way. Both of them are about the same. Mataro edges him out a little bit, but he's definitely worth your money. Absolutely, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you can find this figure and you're into that line, into Storm or Mortal Kombat or both, by all means, pick this guy up, because, like I said, you can get him for under $100, and that's a steal, man. That is a steal. I'm being completely honest with you. So, in our opinion, definitely worth a purchase. But what did you think about Kintaro? Do you have Kintaro? Are you planning to go out and get Kintaro? If this review helped you in any way, and we certainly hope it did, please let us know down in the comments down below. We will be coming back at you because we have one more review, and you all know who that's going to be. It'll be the OG Goro, so there's no surprise there. But in any case, ladies and gentlemen, until our next review, please, please, please don't let anything stop you from continuing to collect, continuing to stay tuned, and above all, continuing to stay great.